Welcome back to another video, guys. And in this video, right, I wanted to talk about why you need to become rich, right? ASAP, right? I feel like a lot of us guys, right, think that being rich isn't going to fix your problems, right? Mainly happiness, right? Being rich isn't going to fix your happiness problem, right? And I'm here to tell you otherwise, right? Being rich will fix your happiness problems, right? It's a big part of why you're not happy, right? The things that you want all comes down to whether you're rich or not, whether you're wealthy or not, right? And in this video, right, I want to cover why and how being rich will fix those problems, right? That you think being rich will not fix, right? So let's hop right into this video. Okay, guys. Now, the first point, right, that I wanted to make, right, was about immediate solutions, right? I'm going to say that again, right? Immediate solutions, right? When you have access to wealth, you have access to immediate solutions, right? You don't have to take forever to pay that rent because you got other things to pay, right? Or other things to pay so that you can't pay your rent, right? You don't have to do these kind of things anymore because you have access to immediate solutions, right? Because you have access to wealth, right? When you have access to immediate solutions, right, you get to do all of these things in a timely manner, right? And that kind of thing, right, will bring happiness, right, naturally, right? Because when you're wealthy and you're doing all these things in a timely manner, you don't have to worry about like stupid shit because you don't have enough money, right? It will naturally bring happiness because you feel like you're on top of things, right? Anybody that feels like, especially guys, right, that feel like they are on top of things will naturally feel better about themselves, right? It's that dopamine hit, right? But this is why you need to be rich, right? You need to be wealthy because you have access to immediate solutions. You get access to other things like groceries that you don't have to worry about forever, right? And it's not just that, right? Once you have enough money, you can just throw money at any problem that you got, right? Like you're trying to get that girl, for example. It's very extreme, right? But let's say, right, you're trying to get that girl, you just throw enough money and eventually she lets you hit, right? You guys shouldn't be throwing money at girls, right? But it really is an example of why you need to be wealthy, right? Because once you have enough money, there's no reason for you to be scared of anything, right? And this brings me to my second point on this same point, right? That once you have access to immediate solutions, right, you're more confident in everything you do, right? Because you have money to throw at anything that you do, right? You don't have to worry about anything, right? Once you don't worry about anything, it's like, especially the things that you buy, especially that fear of buying and thinking about, wait a sec, if I buy this, I could possibly, right, need that money for something else. You get rid of that fear. You're more confident about everything that you do, money related, right? And that confidence, right, boils over to other parts of your life that can make you more confident, right? Because I know this world, right, is ran by money, right? And if you're confident, wealthy, if you're confident in your money and your bread, then it's not going to matter, right? In anything else that you do, right? You're going to be confident anything that comes to money, anything that's money related. Okay, guys. Now, second point, right? You have freedom of choice. I'm gonna say this shit again, right? You have freedom of choice. And I would say that this second point kind of overlaps with the first point, but this one is kind of different. It's kind of different, right? Because when you have freedom of choice, you get to make any kind of decision you want, right? The immediate solutions point was just mainly about any kind of problem you're dealing with. You just have that solution right away because you're rich, right? But this one is more about the happiness that it brings, right? Because you can make any kind of choice that you want, right? I think people like to say that, oh, when you're wealthy, when you're rich, you're still not gonna be happy. I beg to differ, right? I feel like a lot of our problems come from the fact that our unhappiness, right, comes from the fact that we're not rich. I think that once you're rich, you bring happiness, right? You still need money. You still need money to travel. You still need money to eat in that fancy restaurant, right? You still need money to get that new Xbox, that new laptop, that new phone, right? You still need money to essentially live, right? And people like to say, oh, money won't bring happiness. It's just foolish, right? Because I feel like most of our things come from the fact that we don't have money, right? Our unhappiness, right, comes from the fact that we don't have money, right? You still need money to get all these things, to do any of these things, right? You still need money to live in that hotel, right? To pay that rent off. And those kind of things will bring happiness, right? Once you have money, right? So anybody telling you otherwise is just using that as an excuse, right? So that they don't have to go out there and try to make money, because money at the end of the day will bring happiness no matter who you are, right? And for my tryhards out there, right, that will still say, right, that money won't bring happiness, then I will say this, right? At least you will cry in a Ferrari, right? I'm gonna say that shit again, right? At least you will cry in a Ferrari, right? Because even if money did not bring the happiness that you thought it did, right? In whatever fantastical world that you live in, right? That you're living in, right? That money somehow did not bring that happiness. At least you're gonna be crying in a Ferrari, right? Because where would you rather be crying in? In that dingy apartment or in that hotel, right? In that fancy hotel, right? There's no way, right? Anybody's choosing that dingy apartment, right? Anybody's choosing that old car, right? When you're rich, there's no downsides to not being rich. It's what I'm trying to get at. When you have freedom of choice, right? It'll bring happiness, and if it doesn't bring happiness, at least you'll be crying in a Ferrari, right? So, my guys, go out there, try to make as much money as possible, right? Because there is no downsides to being broke, right? I mean, there is no downsides to being rich, but there's all the downsides in the world, right? To being broke. All right, guys, final point, right? And this one is a very simple point, right? And it overlaps the first 2 points that I've made, and it's called opportunities for growth, right? When you have wealth, right, you get more opportunities to grow yourself, right? It could be physically and mentally, right? I get to go to a much more fancy gym. I get to go and have more brain testing because I have more money, right? Because all of these things, right, are all going to be blocked by money, right? You got to have money for all of these things, right? And most of these people, right, that don't have bread will see those things as unnecessary because you don't have money, right? Meanwhile, it could be really necessary, but you just don't see it as necessary because you don't have money, right? Your perception of what's necessary and what's unnecessary is just screwed up by the lack of money that you have, right? But once you have all the money in the world, a lot of these things will start to become necessary. And before you realize it, you can't live without it, right? And that's why you need more money, right? I was also gonna say, right, that you get to explore new hobbies, right? You get to explore things that you couldn't do, which will help you grow as a person, right? You get to go on snowboarding more, which costs money, right? You get to get that new skateboard and try out skateboarding, right? Which costs money, right? You get to do anything in the world, right? Like skydiving, mountain climbing, all that shit costs money, right? The equipment, the places to place the mountain climb, supervisors, all of that shit costs money, right? There's never going to be a time and place where those kind of things don't cost money, right? And most people in their lifetime will never do those kind of things, right? Because they don't see it as necessary, right? Like I said before, right? Because you don't have the bread to see it as a fun thing to do, to see it as a necessary thing to do, right? Because you get to explore, you get to see these kind of things, explore your hobbies, and all those things, right, become necessary before you even know it. All of a sudden it becomes fun, you want to do it again, and that's because you have bread, right? And of course, right, you get to make more money once you're rich, right? You get to make even more money, right? I'm gonna say this, guys. You guys should never ever put a ceiling, right, on the amount of money that you can make, right? You guys should never put a ceiling on the amount of money that you can make, right? This world, at the end of the day, they separate, right? Why not see how far you can go, right? Why not try to see if you can build an empire, right? Don't you ever put a ceiling on how much money you can make, right? Because if you guys are trying to put a ceiling on the money that you can make simply because, right, you guys want to be good, there's other ways to be good, right? You can give money to homeless people on the street. You guys can do charities, right? You guys can do all of these things, right? There's other ways to be good, right? That doesn't have to involve you putting a ceiling on the amount of bread that you can make, right? There's no reason to do that, right? Because while you putting a ceiling, right, another guy out there is going to take the opportunity that you gave up because you thought it was too greedy, right? So yeah, you guys get more opportunities for growth when it comes to being rich, because there are certain opportunities that you can't do if you're broke, right? You get to make more money from the opportunity, and then you get more opportunities because you have more money to make this new amount of bread, and it just keeps going and going, right? So that's it, guys. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys another time.